Good evening, folks. We'll just let everybody join, give it a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this special conversation with the filmmaker and the protagonist of Picture of His Life. We're going to take a couple more minutes just till we officially get started, and then we will introduce everybody. In the meantime, this is your time, your chance to get used to your Zoom settings. Right now, I like to go to my gallery view and see which of my friends are here and say hello. But then once the conversation starts, I recommend switching to speaker view so you can see us and hear us loud and clear in focus. We hope you've already seen the film. If not, the film is still available to be viewed all week. And this film is in its virtual release, which means that you should be spreading the word to all your friends, letting them know about this, and getting more people to see these fabulous films. So I think at this point we're ready to officially start. So I am Isaac Zablocki. I'm the Director of Film Programs at the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. And you are here for a very special conversation that I'm really excited to host here for Picture of His Life. Picture of His Life is co-directed by Dani Menkin, and Dani is here with us. We had him last week with his film Ulci, and he's back for more. Dani, thank you very much for being here. It's also Dani's, was his birthday yesterday. He's joining us on a very special day. So thank you, Dani, so much for being here. I'm also happy to welcome Amos Nachoum. You will all recognize him if you saw the film. And you could, if not, you could recognize him by the polar bears in his background.
Thank you.
Those are the polar bears?
Those are the polar bears.
It wasn't just stock footage that they give you here, and because everybody should have that as their background. It's a nice background. Amos, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you, and thank you. I know in Israel it's the middle of the night, so we especially thank you for.
No. By the way, I'm in California.
California. You're not even in Israel.
No. It's sun shining. It's beautiful out here.
But no big deal. I'm also happy to say that Oded Horowitz, who is releasing the film, is here with us. Oded, we might have some questions for you, so be prepared to unmute if any questions are relevant to this release or to the distribution of the film, because he's doing a fantastic job. This film has gone to every film festival you can imagine. What's amazing about this film, and this is where I'm going to start my first question, and by the way, folks, this is my time to remind you that if you have any questions, put them in the chat box, and when the time comes, we'll call on you, we'll send you a chat and let you know that we'll be opening your mic. So be sure to ask your questions and be a part of this conversation. We're excited to have you here. So this is a film that is so universal, really speaks to everyone, yet I will say, coming from the perspective of the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan and our Israel Film Center, there's something so Israeli about it too. I would love to hear some of how the reactions between an Israeli audience and American audience are different. Dani, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think it's very much a universal story. So we were the opening night of Doc Aviv, and we had wonderful exposure, big piece about us in the Channel 2 and incredible reviews. And then we started our festivals here in the United States. And you ask yourself also the question, okay, so Israeli loves it, of course, it's about the Yom Kippur War. It's about an Israeli protagonist that is going to make the impossible shot of and taking the picture of his life with those two crazy dudes, filmmakers, Jonathan and I. But we could not have expected a more welcoming reception from what we have seen from the American audience. We received so far 6 awards from festivals, and we could have not made so many festivals because of the corona. So a lot of festivals have shut down. So who knows how many more we could have done. But just last week, we've got incredible reviews from Hollywood Reporter, New York Times, CNN, the Chronicle loved us. So, I mean, we're thrilled. We're a little bit on cloud nine, because what happened is that we wanted to release the film theatrically, but you make plans and God laugh. And then the Corona came, and we said, you know what, we will try to make it virtual. So the advantage is that people go to our website, pictureofhislife.com, and you can watch it anywhere. And so far, Odette can tell you, the reaction is incredible. We're so enthused. It's a word of mouth. I getting texts and emails that I cannot even respond to from people that have watched the film that are inspired by that. And I think there is something to say about the healing power of nature when we are in a situation like we are now. We worked on this film, Jonathan and I, while we were working also on Dolphin Boy. And Dolphin Boy is a very special film for us. You remember our screening at the opening night of the other Israeli film festival.
It remained Dolphin Boy. If you have not seen Dolphin Boy, it remains really one of the best Israeli documentaries and one of the best documentaries in general that we've shown.
Yeah, and we would love to keep telling a story of a father and son, in many ways healing from traumatic wounds. But we felt that in this case, thanks to Amos, his mission, his ambition, determination, we went to a place that we would have never gone through. I mean, I can go to basketball places, I can swim with dolphins, but none of us can do what Amos has done. And I think that, we really pushed the envelope here, and we're thrilled with what the movie has done to people, and the inspiration that Amos gave us and gave to so many other people. So we're very thrilled and excited. So for all of you out there, if you love the film, just know it's only word of mouth. So please direct people to pictureofhislife.com and let them know that there is really something special that we have worked on for 10 years. And possibly, the next question should be for Amos from you, Yitzi. And I don't want to take so much space, because really what he has done is totally a miracle. And we were fish out of water. We're polar bear out of water there. We knew nothing about what we're doing. We just tried to tell a good story, but we followed Amos blindly there. And now he followed us blindly to this jungle of film, of distribution. and we're here, doing this. So it's a very exciting time.
Yes, Amos, I'm interested to know, what is more dangerous, swimming with polar bears or releasing a film during a pandemic? But seriously, I actually want to know how this experience was for you. First of all, meeting important to note, Jonathan Nir is the co-director of the film, who's not represented here tonight. But how did this experience start for you, and what was it like having these two directors following you through this process?
Well, it was more dangerous, perhaps, releasing the movie or learning about the process of the movie distribution, and Odette can attribute to that. And we went to back and forth with different opinion, as because I really don't know. And indeed, is in the end of Odette, and which she did a doing a remarkable job. And of course, Dani and Yoni sleeping right now. Dani and Yoni, I met Yoni before. I worked with Yoni before. I did not meet Dani yet. And I learned to trust him based on his military experience, based on the time he worked with me as a student, if you want to call it. I had a chance to mentor him, in the beginning of his career. And that really give me the confidence. During the 10 years that we were talking about the movie and they were filming pieces of it, I learned to know more about Dani, and in this case, Dani and Yoni, the relationship between them, which give me great confidence in their talent, in their skills, and their ability to pull it, and determination to pull it out despite the up and down and the limitation we face. So that was incredible experience for me. And again, thank you for Dani and Yoni, Adam Ravech, the filmmaker that photographed me in the water. He was instrumental to do all the logistic out there in the Arctic. And of course, there's the people behind, which is Chris Kobish, which did the music and doing all of the website, and Oded that organized everything and push it throughout to the world.
And what do you think, what is important for you? Why is it so important for you for your story to be told to the world? What is the message you want people to learn from this?
That is probably you hit the nail on the head. And if we finish the conversation with this, I'll be very happy. I wanted to show to the world there is no need to there's no need to fear the animal. There's a need really to explore what we don't know and how can we relate safely with the environment and the magical life that we have with these animals. Those animals will be from the chimpanzee to the gorilla, from the cheetah to the elephant or the jaguar and the anaconda. They're all perfect living in this environment. They are perfectly designed. We are not. We are evolving, as we know, and those animals, and how we can, with the limitation we have, or I have in this case, to be able to bring the story alive that is worthwhile to keep and maintain for conservation and for the culture and for the challenge that we face in order to deal with unknown or to deal with unpredictable. But we can deal with it if we put our mind and work together in a team. So it is conservation and inspiration.
Wonderful. And Dani, so you followed Amos for 10 years, and I'm sure a lot of amazing adventures had to be cut from this film. Can you share a little bit about how, did you know where you were going? Did you know how the story was going to be told from the very beginning? How did this evolve?
We started the film over 10 years ago after I've done 39 Pounds of Love. Actually, I was approached by a producer to make another road trip film to an impossible journey, an impossible goal. And that's how I actually met with Jonathan. And when it was too hard to raise the money to do the journey that Amos wanted to do, that we wanted to make, because we really felt like we wanted to go all the way. We didn't want just to follow Amos. We wanted to follow Amos through his ultimate goal, to capture the polar bear underwater, and by that, telling that story. So it took so much time. And at some point, Jonathan and I said, you know, there is a simpler story, Dolphin Boy. Little that we knew that Dolphin Boy would take us to such an incredible journey. But we always wanted to struct, and that's how I worked with my other films, whether it's The Dolphin Boy or A Picture of His Life, Allsy, 39 Pounds of Love, On the Map. I'm trying to structure it as it's a feature film. And now more and more I'm writing it as a feature film. I'm just writing full script based on them. But that was the main goal, is how we're taking the character from point A to point B and going with the audience through this roller coaster and seeing the transformation of the character that once was in the Israeli army and had to use the gun and use the lenses of the weapon, and then transformed from a soldier in the Israeli army to a soldier of Mother Nature. So that was the core of the film, to how do we tell the story of his transformation and why did he need to do that transformation. Once you have that, in my view, you have a film. And it took us a long time because There were so many elements, and we had incredible footage, and we used Amos' unbelievable shots. And one of the things that we learned from Amos, even when we have done Dolphin Boy, is a sentence that I don't think it appears in the movie, but Amos told Jonathan, and Jonathan told me, because Jonathan is more like a photographer. And he told me, like, a good picture is a good story. And that was incredible, because you think of a good picture is a good cinematographer, good lighting. For Amos, I mean, that's what was the one thing that struck me the most. He is a storyteller. It's not only that he's taking a picture, he's telling his story. So we want to take the picture of his life, which is our story, and by that, showing the story that he wants to tell as well.
Folks, you just got the reminder that if you have any questions, you could ask them in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and let us know. And I'll ask a few more questions, but we're happy to open it also to your questions. When did you finish complete shooting the film? When was the last time you shot? And I'm interested to know about Amos. Where have you been? What have you been doing since?
Yeah, no. So the Arctic was a few years ago, but we have shot also some completions, like the last scene, which is Amos on the grave of his father, without spoiling it too much to those who did not go to pictureofhislife.com and have seen it yet. But we have also wanted to shoot Amos looking at his pictures. So there were some completion shots that we had to take while we were editing it, because we did not want to have the movie as a normal documentary with talking heads. We wanted to have the voices of the people, like Sylvia Earle, like Jean-Michel Cousteau, like people who knows Amos, like his sister, or like Amos himself. We wanted to have those voices telling the story while we are watching Amos' journey and while we are watching Amos' pictures, because we wanted to make the film feel like bigger than life, because we felt like Amos' pictures are bigger than life. So we wanted to respect the photographer that in many ways we admire. We saw Amos is for us is an artist, and we're artists. So we had to really work together and respect each other, and that took a lot of time. But we're thrilled, that we finished it.
Amos, what about you? What have you been doing since we finished it? What other adventures have you had?
Well, the movie was finished about 5 years ago. So since then, a lot of things happened in my world till we come under the corona or the pandemic. And since February, I'm locked home like everyone else almost. And especially for me, because I could not, or I will not travel out of the country, and I will take people with me to travel out of the country because of the possible risk until better situation arise, and maybe by October, November. I have planned for the future, especially for next year. And we come to a point, as Dani did, the movie created for me, coming to one epic or epics in my career, and taking the epic to another level, and concentrate mostly, or put my effort and my skill that I accumulated till now, and to be able to go in particular after certain aspects that are very rare or endangered environment and threatened animals. The combination of the two become the focus of my work in the future, one of which is the Siberian tiger in Siberia, and especially in what happened now. I don't know if many of you guys have just heard that the temperature measured in Siberia in the past weekend is exceeded 100 Fahrenheit or 38 centigrade Celsius. It is almost like being in a desert in the Dead Sea. So it is really phenomenal, and how it affects, of course, the animal. what Dani said before, and if I elaborate for a moment about my photography, which I put my life into it, is to be able not just to take beautiful picture, which many people can, and many people have cameras today, and you take pictures and people come with wonderful images, but to find work, to find images that have a depth, that have emotion, that have a story to tell by one. And that's for us one of the reasons, rather than to see the mess in my studio, I put a picture of behind my head to show a polar bear with two cubs, or I'll move my head and you see the other cubs. So it is to show more than only one animal, to show the relationship. In this case, it was the intimate relationship between the mother and the two cubs, Adam and I, in the water, and there was no threat and no danger and no aggression. We all could be together in a distance no more than 7 or 8 feet from them. They could easily do something different, and it didn't, because the effort we put in order to allow the animal to come toward us, not us toward them. And that is a passion and patience. And 10 years, Dani and Yoni tried to make it. And for me, those few days out there to be able to relate to the animal. So that's what's coming up. Beside the Siberian tiger, I have another project to go to threatened environment. And this is to a place called the Costa Rica Dome, or the Thermal Dome, which is some 200 miles off the coast of Costa Rica, impacted by wind throughout the year. Only a few times a year, and about 3 or 4 days only, there is opening, the wind come down, and we're able to get there. And the reason to be there, because it's the center of the world. Because of the strong wind, a lot of food come from the bottom of the ocean, from the deep water, bring all the richness to the surface. And then the dinosaurs of the modern world coming to feed there, which are the blue whale, the sei whale, and the fin whale. So now is a chance to speak about the blue whale. They are the modern time dinosaurs, because during the time the dinosaurs live on the planet, blue whale could not exist. Blue whale are bigger than any dinosaurs. So we have actually dinosaurs on our planet. But in the beginning of the previous century, we had over 250 to 300,000 of them. Today, less than 12 or 15,000 left in the world. Time to document it, or to bring the story to light, where they feed and how they succeed staying in our planet and this water that we have now. And especially next year, because there is less pressure on them right now, on any animal. So next year, anybody come join me on the trip and go to see the animal, you will have a marvelous time, better than any other time in history, because the animals are open and cruising around. There's no noise pollution, and there is no sound pollution, and it's not people pollution over the animal or pushing on their environment.
And one of the things that really struck me in the film is really the respect that there is for every creature, every living thing, and I think that comes across, and and it adds to our humanity. Your relationship with the animals, I think makes you a better person, us a better person, our whole community better. And it's very much appreciated, and I think conveyed very well in this film. I want to take a question from a member of the audience. Michelle, you have a question. We're unmuting you. You're on.
Hi, Amos, and all the rest of you who worked on the film. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm wondering, what is your dream for the photo, the one that's behind you? What is the ultimate place of where you would love to see it hanging or being somewhere?
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate it. Yes, Smithsonian Museum will be one of the highlight places, and a Guggenheim Museum in New York and a Smithsonian in Washington. Those are the places that I like to see this particular image highlight. Actually, there is one better than this one, which are all three of them, mother and the two cubs, all those eyes, all 6 eyes looking at me and Adam. And not forget, Adam and I were in the water together and they're looking at us at the same time. It is just, well, I hope I could, the image by itself speak for itself powerfully enough because of the contrast, how we think about polar bear being aggressive animal that can kill anything on the planet. They're apex predator, and the fact that they were so comfortable with us and we are with them because of the passion and respect, as Isaac mentioned earlier. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, and I wanted to add to Amos saying and to tell Michelle and whoever is watching us that is possibly interested in Amos' image, he can contact Oded and us, and he will put his contact right now. And part of the, and he can purchase a picture of Amos signed by Amos, and part of it will also go to help the distribution of this film because we are working out of air. So and everything can help, and this is the, I would say, a piece of our soul, a piece of Amos's soul, and a picture that everyone who will have it will be amazed by it. So for more details, please contact Oded, and we will be happy to serve you. So if anyone is interested or knows of somebody who is interested in the picture.
Yes, on the website of Picture of His Life, there is a link to the gallery. The gallery, there are print to offering print to sell, different sizes, different prices, and it is devoted part of it to the creator of the movie for Dani, Oded, and Yoni, and part of it for my work, and could be able to continue to do the work that I've been till now. And for anybody participating, thank you, Dani, for mentioning. In order for me to make those pictures or to bring this story alive or this kind of emotion and perhaps conservation issues, I have an organization which expedition. I take people with me, small group, intimate group, 2, 4, no more than 6 people into the wilderness, and together either coach them in photography or they are taking their own pictures and become storyteller in their own community, or be able to do their own story to whichever magazine or publishing they want to put it, or online. So big animal expedition.com.
We have another question from Audrey. Audrey, you're up.
Hi, Amos, I loved your movie. I live in Northern Virginia and I'm on Northern Virginia Jewish Film Festival, and we showed your film in October and people just, loved it. And so my initial question was, well, I thought the polar bears was your ultimate goal and what would be the next, but I think you've already said, it's whales. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, where would you ideally want to capture the whales?
Okay, there are several aspects here. I don't have an ultimate picture. I have an ultimate story to tell. Like a singer or like a painter or like a sculptor, it is a lifestyle. It is a mission of storytelling to the world. So I don't have just one picture that it tells my story, ultimate picture. The ultimate is if I can, with the power of the camera and my other talents or skills, to be able to bring people to be more respectful, more enjoying the environment and the wilderness, or to support education and conservation. I don't have an ultimate place to take picture of the whale, simply because they live in many different places, especially the blue whale. Many years I've been operating off the coast of California. They are migrating along the coast right now as we speak in June, July. But in the United States, we have limitation to go to the water, interact with those mammals, what they call the marine mammal law. There is other places in the world, like I mentioned, the Costa Rica Dome, to be able to do their other special expedition that I'll run. There is another place in Timor-Leste, which is south of Indonesia. There are blue whale in October, November, and I plan to be there. There is another place to be with them is off the island of the Azores in the Atlantic, just off Portugal. and of course, they are in Sri Lanka. Those are the 3 or 4 key places in the world to be with the world. So, but they're all, each one of them in different period of time, not at the same time of the year. So I travel around the world, hopefully with enough people to join me and be able to meet the animals, since I don't have, or I don't work for National Geographic or BBC or other organizations or Discovery. I do things on my own because my approach is as such that many times those organizations did not feel safe to do that, what I'm doing. And Dani and Yoni trusted me and Adam, and together we were able to create a new level of ability to work with wildlife with no protection, but with patience and passion. Because what happened is, it is always a question of money, and time is money in the Western society, and especially in America. So those organizations concerned, if they invest, they have money only for 7 days, if something really going to happen. And sometimes what happened is they're forcing the issue on the animal to take the picture. It took me 45 years to build this career, to build this credential, that the timing is right, the skills or the people we put together is right, and be able to get this kind of situation, which second to none, what Dani, Yoni, and Adam, and the Inuit family were able to create with being with the polar bear. So we are raising the bar of really working in the wilderness, and thank you for the people that followed and joined me, and I had to join them in coming here today with Dani and Yoni.
Thank you. We are going to take a question from Vivian. Vivian.
Hi, this is very appropriate what you were just saying now. Did you ever have any fears?
Fear is very, very important. I always have fear, like everybody else. But fear is always, there are 2 elements of this. One is only happen before I go out to do what I want to do, not when I'm doing it. Because there is already, then is the commitment to do that. And when it comes to commitment, all my senses, all my being is behind the mission or behind the concept of the moment. But also important to know that fear, for me, is a state of highest alertness. I become much more alert to what happened all around me. Other hearing, other smelling, other seeing. My hair become my antenna. This is how I'm able to survive for so many years, doing it for 45 years, being with a croc, being with anaconda, being with the great white. It can be done, but the truth is, and I must say, it's contribution to the service and to the time I spent in the military in Israel. And the war that I participate, either in the Gaza Strip before the war in 73 and during the war, all those things, the training, the discipline, the philosophy, the psychology behind all those things that I contribute them honestly to the success of being able to do what I did single-handedly till Yoni and Dani came in and joined me into this project. But fear is a very important element. I never let fear or leave fear behind. On the contrary, I take it with me, because otherwise I'll not be human. But how to handle fear and how to relate to that, it is like taking an onion and peeling one level after another till almost nothing left, and then I just can do what I do.
Great. I think we're going to take one last question from an audience member. Perry, you're up. We're going to unmute you. Give us a second. There you go.
Oh, Amos, the film was great. I loved it. And how'd you get interested to filming animals like been doing for the past many years?
Thank you, Perry, very much. Like in every field, in every profession, and I believe everybody around here listening to us is professional, we had to create a niche. We had to create something very special, our own signature on life, and that will become successful. For me, it was a process that it took when starting photography well, in Israel, doing journalism, and then did fashion, and did war photography, and then back into journalism, and then it started underwater. And underwater, I started taking pictures in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, mostly for the reef condition, the beautiful reef and the fish, but I did not find yet my calling. And then by the end of the 80s, then I decided to go to blue water and work specifically only with big animals. The reason was different. The reason was very interesting because I saw the damage that I was leading in the world at the time when I was taking people with me to the underwater jungle, to the reef, and the reef got destroyed because more and more people start doing it. Because of boat, in the beginning we did not know, and we throw anchor on the reef on the sand, and it kills a lot of different things. So that's big. But seeing this damage in my own eyes, going to the Red Sea in the late 70s or early 70s and the mid 80s, I see the places that I knew they were not the same anymore, just like the jungle in Africa. So I decided on my own, I could not stop it because diving became more and more popular. I could not stop it, but I removed myself out of it. However, I still was, as Yoni and Dani know, I was under post-trauma from the war, and I never knew it until the movie helped me to open up. But the connection to the water, it is a place that I always felt most in peace, most in harmony. And that's what led me only working with wildlife in the open water, no destruction, and then a chance to be able to, I realize I do it very well with the animal that no matter how dangerous they are, or supposed to be dangerous, they are not. It's dependent on how we approach them. And we approach them in peace, the approach was that we turn in peace. No aggression, there is harmony.
Guys, this was really, really fabulous. It's an honor to have you here, Amos and Dani. Folks, let's give one more reminder of what people should be telling their friends. And Oded, feel free to chime in here. Oded put some of the links in the chat, but Dani, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we would love for people to come and see the film, which is opening up virtually. It's incredible because it's revolutionary. We love to be the one holding the flame and saying, yes, we are doing it, even though cinemas have closed. We're doing it anyway, worldwide, and you can watch us at Picture of His Life, one word, pictureofhislife.com. That's where we are, and we cannot thank you enough for telling your friends. And if you would love us just as much as the Hollywood Reporter have loved us, we will be thrilled. And I will just conclude with the line of Leonard Cohen from the song that finishes the film, saying that there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And that is the message that we have tried to convey through the making of a Picture of His Life. So on behalf of Yonatan and myself, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to tell good stories and to help enlighten a little bit the world nowadays. I know the world is toxic to so many aspects, and not only the pandemic. So we're hoping that this film can heal some of the wounded. We try to heal ours. I know Amos tried his, so I hope we are able to do the same for you guys who will watch this film.
I just want to add one thing. In pictureofhislife.com, you can find a list of many organizations and theaters and publications that have joined us. And the important thing now in the coronavirus era is that whenever you rent or buy the film to any of these links, the organization that you do it through gets a share of the revenues. So it's it's a way to help all these organizations that are closed now, and of course to support the film. So just, you know, feel free to go into pictureofhislife.com and you can see a big list. And of course, through our host, through the Marlene Meyerson JCC, they have a link there, a landing page. You can rent the film through them. So we'd love to have you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, Isaac, and thank you, New York, for listening to us and be part of it. And bring your friend to see us and to see the movie and to participate in any way you can, or send a suggestion to Dani and Yoni or to Oded in pictureofhislife.com.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining. We'll continue to hopefully bring you these films and more wonderful films throughout the summer. And coming up this week, we already have